Hey guys, my name is Shrish. So a couple of months back, OnePlus launched the OnePlus 8 and OnePlus 8 Pro globally. And in my opinion, more or less, OnePlus had like two different approaches for these two phones. There's a OnePlus 8 Pro where OnePlus sort of aimed for the perfect flagship experience. They did not really cut any corners when it comes to the OnePlus 8 Pro. And then there's the OnePlus 8, which in my opinion is just a classic OnePlus phone. Now I got to spend some time with the OnePlus 8. Of course I don't own this phone, so a huge shout out to my friend Shubham who actually owns this OnePlus 8, and he was kind enough to let me use the phone and make a video on it. So a huge shout out and huge thanks to him. I'll make sure to drop his channel link. He also has a gaming channel. He's just getting started with the YouTube game. He has a gaming channel where he uploads mostly PUBG mobile videos, and he's on Conqueror, I guess, at this moment, and that says quite a lot about his skills when it comes to PUBG mobile. So I'll make sure to drop his channel link in the description box below. Show some love to him because after all, without him, this video wouldn't have been possible. So again, a huge thanks to Shubham. Now over time, after using a lot of budget Android devices, I sort of had forgotten how an actual premium phone feels like. And when I held the OnePlus 8 for the first time, this phone felt a lot more satisfying to hold. It's firstly lighter. It has this matte finish, which I absolutely love. Like at this moment, I'm pretty much bored with the generic glossy designs that we get to see, or glossy finish that we get to see on most phones. So a matte finish is definitely something I crave. I don't know when it's gonna enter the budget segment. But anyways, the OnePlus 8 feels like really, really good to hold in hand. More or less, it's, I guess, because of the weight distribution and the quality of the hardware used to actually, bind up the device together. And I believe that looks sort of are quite a lot subjective. So I'm just going to leave it out there. I won't really talk much about the looks factor of the OnePlus 8. But I would just say one thing, that the glacial green color that I have right now, it actually looks a lot better in real life than on camera. So, if in case you are a bit sketchy about the color especially, then I don't think you should be much worried about that. And then there's the OLED display at 90Hz, which is just pleasing to look at. Of course, the display is AMOLED, so there are deeper blacks, and the display overall looks a lot more vibrant and punchier. But on a serious note, the OnePlus 8 Pro actually has a lot of display issues. In fact, KD Cloudy actually made a video on that. I'll make sure to drop that in the description box below. You can check that video out. He just shared his experience with his OnePlus 8 Pro. Now, from that video, I got to know that OnePlus 8 Pro has a lot of display related issues. But then with the OnePlus 8, I did not find any issues. Of course, because I did get very limited time to spend with this phone. So I'm not entirely sure how this display is going to hold up in the future. But yes, so far with me using the OnePlus 8, I did not really find any display issues as such. So on the unit that I have, at least the display is really great. But on top of that, there's the 90Hz high refresh rate. So yes, I'm one of those users in favor of the high refresh rate trend. And once again, on the OnePlus 8, the experience is just, satisfying. And then one of the things which actually improves or enhances your smartphone experience, not only on the OnePlus 8, but in general on most OnePlus phones, is the haptic feedback. So the vibration motor used in the OnePlus 8 definitely is a very high quality vibration motor. That's evident when you type something on the OnePlus 8. And now, of course, the performance on the OnePlus 8 was great because of the Snapdragon 865. It's a no-brainer that the phones with Snapdragon 865 are going to have pretty much the best Android performance that you're going to find at the moment. But on top of it, there's the Oxygen OS, which sort of makes the OnePlus 8 a little bit more faster. It makes the device look a little bit more faster, again because of the animations and the tiny tweaks that they do within their UI. Now personally, I'm not a gamer as such, but my friend who owns this phone is a really, really good gamer. And in fact, the reason why he bought the OnePlus 8 in the first place was Snapdragon 865, the gaming performance in general. And on top of that, Oxygen OS, because Oxygen OS has got internal audio recording. So yes, his experience with the OnePlus 8 with screen recording at Conqueror is just amazing. Of course, there are a couple of frame drops here and there that's expected when you record a gameplay. But if you're not going to record the gameplay on the OnePlus 8, then the performance is just going to be flawless. Let it be any game as such. Now for me, the battery life on the OnePlus 8 was just great from a premium phone's perspective. Of course, some budget phones will give you better battery life than the OnePlus 8, but from a flagship's perspective, OnePlus 8 actually has great battery life in my opinion. I did manage to get 6 hours or more than 6 hours of screen on time with moderate to heavy usage, and with normal usage the phone pulls me through a day without any issues. So in terms of battery, this phone can actually be a better choice than even the OnePlus 8 Pro. Now, when I said that this phone, unlike the OnePlus 8 Pro, is a classic OnePlus phone, what I meant by that was the camera performance is not going to be top-notch or absolute best in class. And while the camera performance on the OnePlus 8 is great, it is definitely better than the performance on the OnePlus 7T. The images have better dynamic range, the wide-angle lens seems to have improved. The macro lens is average, but yeah, overall the camera setup as a whole is, I guess, decent. Like, definitely if you want to buy a phone for the sake of photography or cameras, then definitely this is not the phone. When you turn on or when you switch to the wide-angle lens, the color science is totally different. Like, the white balance becomes a lot more cooler, and overall there is quite a lot of difference between the primary camera and the wide angle lens in terms of color science. So overall, my experience with the OnePlus 8 was definitely great with the limited time I had with this phone. I love how the phone feels like a flagship while not being the company's top-end phone this year. I mean, of course, you cannot call this a perfect flagship because there are certain compromises from OnePlus, especially in terms of IP certification and in terms of cameras and in terms of wireless charging. But if those things don't really matter to you, then this phone is actually amazing in my opinion. And then one more thing that I forgot to mention earlier on in the video is regarding the display. Like, the display is curved, so obviously there are certain accidental touches. But of course, the display actually looks quite a lot good and futuristic for normal people. So yes, even though the display looks quite a lot visually appealing, I would have loved a flat display as a whole, because when you start using the device over time, you are going to see a lot of accidental touches. So yes, if you want good speed, smooth experience, and you can digest the fact that your phone doesn't have the absolute best in class cameras, then the OnePlus 8 is actually a great phone in my opinion. So yeah guys, that's it for this video. I hope this video helped you in some way or the other. If it did, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.